Well, it's Thursday. Good afternoon, Dragon family. It's Araya. Hello, hello. AKA the Dragon Lady to my friends and family. Um, Here we are. It's Thursday, so we are going to dive into some questions. For those of you that don't know who I am a psychic medium, energy healer, life coach, and happen to know a lot about dragons because I've been working with them for about 15 years and wrote a book about them about 10 years ago to be able to work with them, a guidebook. So here in the group, we actually address questions every week, and there's been some great ones lately. I didn't get to them last week, but I know that Bridget from North Carolina brought up some dragon egg questions. She had an experience with dragon eggs and was sort of curious about it. How do you know what to do with that? And I'm sure she is not alone. So let's talk about dragon eggs. There are, in my experience, so many different opportunities and ways that this shows up. Many people feel them actually, like she had a beautiful rock show up that her guides, she just was drawn and felt the words dragon egg come in, and she looked down and there was this egg and she had to wait for guidance of what to do with it. She wasn't quite sure. Your guides will usually show you a way or will bring the information to you of what you need to do with it. But don't be surprised, because there's physical ones like that. They're a physical representation of something that's actually going on energetically. But because they want to bring it more into your conscious reality, they're actually providing the physical form for you. So energetically, though, you've got those aspects. You might have eggs show up in your womb space. That can be for men or women, and their hara for the men and the womb space for the women. You might have, what are our connections to our dragons? The Phoenix and the Swan energy's right. The masculine and feminine balance in the duality split. I have seen both Phoenix eggs and Swan eggs, golden and silver in color, show up. Hello, Christopher. Show up in representation in their body, typically in the womb and hara space, but anywhere in your field or anywhere in your house or your property. You can experience them in places where you're going. You might come across what feels like a dragon's nest with eggs in it, or a nursery with lots of baby dragons and eggs mixed. So always in those cases, you have to listen to your inner guidance. If you wouldn't have come across it and had a realization of what you were if you weren't fairly intuitive, didn't have a decent connection to either your dragon guides or your dragon. So let's allow that to come through. If you're aware enough to have that egg come in, you are aware enough to have the insight come in of what the instructions are for that. Does it need singing to? Does it need incubation? Does it just need to be held by a human? And that's really a big one. That's most often the connection for it coming to you is because you are probably dragon lineage, because you would be aware enough psychically or intuitively to recognize it. And there has to be, for many dragons to come in and birth, and this information is just coming in right now, actually, so I'm going to allow it to come through. For dragons to come in and birth, like myself or many of those that are in the group, the dragon hearts that are out there, in order to come into the physical realm, some dragons actually need a physical form, like an egg, to have manifest there. So knowing that if you have a physical rock, whether it's tiny, it's a representation energetically, so it can be tiny or it can be gigantic. I have seen photos of, I think there's one on the tour in Glastonbury that's quite large, known as the dragon rock or the dragon egg. And so it's an energetic representation. It doesn't have to match in the physical realm. If those are coming across to you, that bridge into humanity, into this realm, so if you've got dragons coming from far away, whether they birth into human form or not, that they want to come in and work in this realm, they might need a birthing process through an energetic physical form in order to anchor them in and pull them into this dimensional space. So know that those eggs might be like anchors that are allowing their energetic bodies to come in and actually form in this realm. Because the 3D drop-in, it's got a different set of rules to where they've been potentially working before. So always follow your inner guidance. I would say that's the biggest key. If you had enough guidance to recognize the egg, then you probably can get enough guidance to know exactly what to do with it. And of course, you can always turn to the dragon family. I love that Bridget brought it up in the group, and even before I could do a live on it or answer with my opinions. Everybody in the group, there's a lot of good intuitive information there, and people have had similar experiences. So that's why we have this group. Put it out there and see what comes in, because even if it's not the exact perfect thing that you need, you're going to have a connection and an aha moment of, oh, okay, that makes sense because I was feeling to do this. And then you'll get that confirmation, know that, yeah, okay, that was valid. I'm going to do this. Hi, Chris. Nice to see you. Hi, Tien Marie. So that was one of the great questions. The other one during that same week was from Joanne up in the UK. And she, I think we talked about on a previous live how she went through a deep sadness and grief when her guides changed, when her beautiful dragon guide that she was so used to, funny Frank, he is hysterical actually, he took off, and she went through a grieving process, and it was part of her growth and also part of his growth. And so her question was, is it possible, because all of a sudden he's back and he's very different, he looks different, it's like he's up leveled, did he up level to up level with me? And of course that can happen if your guides are really attached to you, and they might, it depends on their assignments, you know, there's so many possibilities there that yes, anything is possible, but they're out, you know, if they're on assignment or they're in a certain realm of framework of what they do and how they interact with humanity, and they're always in the same realm of tangents, and maybe they're ready for their own growth and they want to continue the assignment with you, but you have up leveled yourself. If you've expanded beyond what their normal range of responsibilities is allowing them, then they might actually go off and do their own training or growth, or looking into what needs to go a certain direction, and come back indeed in their expanded form. So they will always match and show you where you're at with where they're at. And I love that she, you know, she sort of felt that and figured it out herself, but she was asking, is that really possible? Is it the same one? Is he, because he's so radically different in appearance, that, you know, he was bigger, and, you know, his coloring was slightly different and more expanded, and it definitely fits. Now, the other scenario is that your guides may or may not stay with you. They might go off and do their own thing, or they might be reassigned to others that were in the same place you were 5-6 months or 2 years ago, where they can take them through that phase, because most of the guides have a range that they work in where this is their specialty, or this is what their responsibility level is at that point. And so they work with the same series of people in that same level of opening, and they do get reassigned and shuffled as people expand and, you know, mature on their journey. So always throw the questions out. I love that those questions got asked in the group, and I believe there was another one last week that I was going to try and look at, and maybe we'll talk about that for next week. But want to mention too, because we are 2 weeks away, I'm just so excited. There's so much happening with the dragons this fall. I have to bring it up, because if you haven't seen the Sedona video yet, Sedona was huge, and it was such a kickoff, and I'm seeing the unfolding of the Egypt trip coming up. Hi, Candace. Nice to see you. 2 weeks from yesterday is when I will be heading out for Egypt and South Africa, and I know the transmissions are out there as a possibility if you want to be a participant with the energies. Hi, Lori. Don't forget, the registration for those ends October 22nd. So yay, Egypt. Yes, Chris is one of my dragon hearts. He'll be in Egypt helping anchor the dragon energies and activate what's going on there. Especially he and Loretta are going to hold the fort in the King's Pyramid in Egypt when I am in South Africa in Cape Town, hitting that end, or actually out along the coastline, where we're finding the perfect spot to activate the Black Dragon's energy lines and get her fully up leveled, bringing her up back to the surface. Anyway, with that, the trip is going to be big. If you've been meaning to sign up for the transmissions, or you need information about the Sacred Journey transmissions, they're being facilitated by at least 3 dragons for each one. There's 6 different ones and 6 sacred sites. And when I was given the information for the journey itself and what's unfolding energetically, it's this beautiful flow of activation and rebirthing of ourselves into masculine feminine balance, and it fits with all the divine feminine energy work that's going to be going on there, the energy work with the temples, but also with the dragons. And there are at least 3, if not more, dragons facilitating each of the transmissions. It's going to be huge, and it's really affordable, and it's, you know, you can do one transmission, you can do all 6. and you do have to be signed up by October 22nd. Other exciting news besides that going on and being able to, I will be posting the actual time of the activation on the final day on November 7th, so that those that want to meditate and just tune in, even if you don't want to receive transmissions, you don't want to pay for anything, freebie, sign in and just align yourself with a meditation. It's going to be powerful, and the more dragons we have involved in that, the more powerhouse it's going to be. Every one we add is an exponential factor, and by having the grid lines coming from all over the globe, it's going to really make it powerful. So I will be posting that before the 7th of November, so that anybody that wants to meditate in with us on that is able to do so. And just giving a heads up, because look, you can see I finally got my calendar. I got my big calendar for 2019 on the wall, which means I Have the Dragon program is on the calendar. It's going to kick off February 5th, which means when I get back, the day I get back, November 12th from Egypt and South Africa, I'm going to start taking the applications for that and going through that interviewing process and all that through Christmas, so that we have that ready to go, because that's going to be a very powerful 4 months. And that's all I'm going to say for now, but it's going to be very exciting. And I'm excited because it's on the board, on the calendar. And I've got a whole bunch more things to slate in, because there's some more activations coming up next year, and more programs and more group meditations. And wow, it's just off the charts. It's like, wow, okay, I need to multiply myself and figure out how to become 3 or 4 of me at once to get it all in there. But I am really excited about it, and I hope you are too. So thanks for being here today. I will look back in the posts and see what questions have come up this week, especially for you new members. We've got a lot of new Dragon family joining us in the group, so post your questions. I love to answer them here. I love to connect with you guys and see you here online. Hi Rosa, good to see you from Barcelona. I love the interactive international aspect of this, and want to send out giant dragon hugs to you guys, because I love my dragon family. It amps me up to no end to be on fire, to be on track with what I'm here for, and just have the unfolding continually happening. You know, when you get in the flow of it, it just keeps flowing and opening more. And that's my job and task here, is to help you guys get there, both with your dragon guides and with your dragon self, and to really open your trajectory. So if I can help you do that in any way, I do discovery calls, I do one-on-one sessions, I do group programs, and you're going to see lots of different things unfolding. Look in your emails. If you're on the newsletter list, send an email out this week. It's got the links for the transmissions. It's got information about Sedona, and a little tickler about the Eye of the Dragon program. So watch for that. If you don't get the emails, if you don't get the newsletters, go to dragonwithin.com, both French and English versions, and you just put your name in at the bottom of the page and you'll get the emails. I don't send them out too often. I don't like to inundate and bombard people with those. But when there is stuff happening, when there's news that needs to be shared, I definitely get something out there. So love to share in that way. Anyway, have a great, great Thursday. We'll see you next week. And be sure to post your questions into the group. Over and out for today. Bye, guys.